everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know we've got a couple people that are still joining, so we're going to give it just another minute. But if you have just come in, hi, Anna. Hi, Claudia. Welcome, welcome. You guys just put in the chat where you're from. I would love to see kind of where you guys are at in the world. I'm here in Cincinnati. Mary, hopefully you can hear us now. And audio is working for you. Melbourne, Florida. Where is that in Florida? Like Orlando area or south? Like north, I should say northern or southern. There's a lot of Orlando, a lot of Florida. One hour southeast of Orlando. Got it. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, I want to honor you guys' time, so let's get rolling. I am so excited to be here with you today. I kind of want to get a feel for where you guys are at. And if you would come on camera, I would love to see your face instead of just your name. So if you can join us live and in the room, because I want to make this interactive too. And so first off, and if you guys cannot come on camera, just please utilize the chat. It makes it way more engaging, and studies have shown that the more that you engage in the event, especially when we're online, the more you raise your hand, the more you comment, the more that you participate, the more information that you take away. So please utilize the chat. Make sure you are on camera as much as you can be. I know, Claudia, you can't be, so thanks for letting me know that. But if you're able to, come on camera. And you do not have to be camera ready. That is not the goal of this. But it really is to be able to create some engagement and some energy. And you will be able to take more away because you're engaging. Hey, Mona, thanks for turning your camera on. It's good to see your face. Good to see you. So welcome, everyone. First off, I just want to ask you guys, like, would you like to, well, now my mouse is just having its day. How many of you guys would like to have unlimited energy all day long? Like if you're on camera, give me a little wave, give me a thumbs up, type me in the chat if you are utilizing the chat. But think about if you had energy all day long, what would be possible? Would you like to be able to lose weight without deprivation or starvation or living at the gym or in the kitchen? If that's you, give me a little wave or put me in the comments in the chat. You know, I think about, there's so many people that we go, I want the weight, but I don't want all of the stuff that comes with dieting. And today we are talking about how to eliminate the starvation and the deprivation and the endless commitment to living in the gym or being in the kitchen. So I want to teach you the simplest way to be able to release weight and do it permanently so it feels effortless. Is there still some action? Absolutely. But we're going to show you the easiest way to do it. Now, how many of you would like to look and feel 10 years younger? Anybody? Anybody? No? Okay. Just me. Right? But I think about what would be possible. What would you do with an extra 10 years of your life? Now, if you're sitting around right now going, well, more of the same, and it's not exciting, I get it. But today I want to show you how you can be able to create this, because I 100% believe that it's possible for you to look and feel 10 years younger, for you to have amazing energy all day long, and for you not to have to live in the gym to do it. Here's a couple examples of results based on what I'm showing you today and I'm sharing with you today. These are results that real life people have had. This is Michael. When we started working together, he literally had, we did a pantry makeover, and he eliminated all of the sweets and baking stuff from his pantry by choice. It filled an entire garbage can. So for him, food was his life. And in just 3 months, was able to release 45 pounds. Now, we did that together, but he took the information I'm going to share with you today, and on his own, released another 65 pounds and was able to keep it off for well over 3 years so far. So I just want you to know, wherever you're at right now, it is possible to create lasting change. This is Deb. When I first met Deb, she had just gone through 2 years of hell at work, lots of changes and lots of intensity. Her cholesterol number was 800. She was on 4 times the normal dose of metformin and was exhausted and miserable. You could say burnt out would be an understatement. And in 60 days, all of her numbers were back in line, and she had already released over 20 pounds in just 60 days. Based on what I'm sharing with you today. How many of you guys would love to be able to feel those results and see those results for yourself? Give me a yes in the chat, or give me a wave if you're on camera. And again, if you are not on camera, please come on camera. Hey, Trisha, it's good to see you. Right. And I just want you to know that it's possible based on the stuff that we're talking about today. Okay. So let's dive in. First, I want to say thank you. I recognize it's a work day. I recognize that you have a lot of other places that you can be. And I want to thank you for being here, but I want to thank you for being here for you. Because I love spending time with you, and know that this is a gift that you're giving to yourself to be able to take time for you. But I'm so glad to be able to spend this hour with you. So for those of you that don't know me, I will give you a snapshot. I really want to dive into the content. So I'll give you like 2 little bits. I, for the last 20 years, have been coaching and training and teaching women how to reclaim their health and how to recharge their lives. For me, it is not something I was born with. If you rewound the clock to my 20s, I was living on sugar, fast food, caffeine, and I smoked a half a pack a day. So totally the person that would be teaching other people how to get healthy, right? I swore off cooking until the age of 30. I burnt the inside of a baked potato and a steak and then overcooked asparagus. And I was like, well, apparently I can't do this. So everything I teach today is from real life experience and all of the lessons that I have learned myself, as well as coaching and teaching women for the last 20 years. Like I said, I didn't start out with healthy habits. I had a wake-up call, and maybe some of you guys can relate to this. Maybe it was a family member for you. Maybe it was a diagnosis that came up in your health or your own life. And you're at a place now where you're like, it's time. It's time to do something for me. It's time to do something to take care of my health, because I want to make sure that I can live a long time and feel good doing it. So my wake-up call came, I was about 26. This is a picture of my mom. My mom at the age of 49 went from living on her own to being in a nursing home in 6 weeks. She had multiple sclerosis my entire life, and it was so abrupt. And in that time, I made the decision I would do whatever I could to help her. So I started researching and I started looking for other avenues. And this is back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And I ended up at a conference that was being taught by a pharmacist, and the pharmacist was teaching about the healing benefits of superfoods, which was weird. I mean, multivitamins at that time were weird. And during his talk, he was talking about his wife who had MS, multiple sclerosis, the same amount of time as my mom. So 26 years apart. After his talk that evening at the reception, I see he and his wife literally waltzing across the ballroom. I was floored. My mom had been walking with a cane since I was 7 or 8. And this woman is untouched. And I got a chance to meet her afterwards. And I was like, hey, what drugs are you on? Because my mom needs to be on whatever you're on. And she's like, I'm not on any medications. My husband didn't believe in them. And I'm like, wait a minute. Your husband, the pharmacist, didn't believe in the drugs? And she's like, no, the side effects were too great and the population studies were too small. So I just built my body up with diet, supplements, and exercise. I remember just standing there, just floored. I'm like, what? Because I started thinking about my mom's lifestyle. And I mean, I grew up in the Midwest in the 80s. So we had lots of hamburger helper, tuna noodle casserole, Salisbury steak out of the freezer with a can of green beans and a can of cream corn, right? Really healthy. She did the best that she could. She was raising 3 kids. She ran the bookkeeping for my dad's business, and she was exhausted all the time. So she did the best that she could. She took supplements for about 6 months when I was in 6th grade and said, they're too expensive. They don't work. I'm not doing it. And I don't remember her ever exercising. So talking to Dr. Susser's wife, it got me thinking, like, what if my mom had done what she had done? Would her results have been different? And so I started researching again. And sure enough, the more I did, the more I saw people reversing MS and heart disease and cancer and fibromyalgia and diabetes and Alzheimer's, like literally everything that I thought was a life sentence once you got that diagnosis, these people were reversing by changing their lifestyle. So I went back to school for nutrition. And for the last, and so full circle with my mom, based on what I learned in school, we were able to get her out of the nursing home and into a group home. And she passed just before her 65th birthday. Her nurses and caretakers doctors said that we had extended her life by at least 5, if not 10 years because of the changes that we made, and had tremendously improved the quality of her life while she was still alive. Her cognition, she went from having a UTI every other month to every other year and then none. And it was just like, I made a decision, if I could help one family prevent putting a parent in a nursing home prematurely, my mission was accomplished. And I've been able to help thousands of people to reclaim their health and to recharge their lives in the last 20 years. So I'm excited to be able to share this with you today. I remember in my 20s, I had been on every single stinking diet under the sun and ended up screwing up my metabolism more versus fixing it. So I want to share with you what I learned and what I did to be able to effortlessly maintain my weight, where I haven't been on a scale in 20 years. And my weight has stayed within 5 to 7 pounds pretty much my entire adulthood after I implemented these strategies. I mean, you guys are excited about being able to have some effortless weight loss, where it just let it go and keep it going. Okay? So we're going to talk about today. So let me get my mouse working again. There. So I'm curious, have you ever felt like no matter what you try, the weight just keeps coming back? Maybe you go on a diet, maybe you change your lifestyle, maybe you work out in the gym. Like if that's you, just put yes in the chat. If you feel like you have attempted to lose the weight and it just keeps coming back. Because you're not alone, right? If we look at traditional dieting, 98% of people regain the weight, if not more, after 2 years. 98%. Yeah, Claudia, been there, right? It is so frustrating. And diets really, they don't work anyhow. And what most people do is they try to find a new diet. And diets, they have strict rules on them. How many of you guys have overhauled everything in one day? It's like, okay, no more sugar, no more carbs, no more alcohol, no more fun, no more food. Like, I'm just going to drink my water and call it good, right? So we hear about something new. We go, oh, this is the thing. I'm going to do this. And we overhaul everything. We follow the rules because we're all rule followers. We do what we're supposed to because we want it to work. And then life gets hard. We go on vacation, holidays happen, stress happens, and we cave. Or maybe it's just that morning that you didn't have your normal, protein-based breakfast and you grab something. Maybe it's at work, maybe you're at a meeting and you grab a donut or a pastry and you're like, oh, God, now you're beating yourself up because you're not perfect anymore. And then we feel guilty and we beat ourselves up. And then we start just going, well, screw it. Or maybe you're doing all the things, but it's not actually working. So today we're going to talk about a totally different way of being and a way of looking at how we're releasing weight, not losing weight. Because how many of you guys want to find the weight again once you lost it? Anybody? No. Head shaking. No. Okay. Right. So diets fail you. It's not that you failed the diet if it didn't work for you. It's because diets don't work. They were never designed to. I know there's a consultant I know, and she works with weight loss companies. And she actually was in a meeting with like the head of Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and a few other big companies in the industry. And they were asking her, hey, how do you make people feel guilty so they keep coming back when they fall off the wagon? Like, I'm sorry, what? They were asking her, how do they keep getting them to come back by feeling guilty? Do you think they have our best interest in heart? No, they're looking for the next, next million that they can make. They're looking for the next, special thing that they can be able to tell you. If you just do this, if you just eat kale every day, life's going to be amazing. You can drop all the weight you want, right? No, they deal with all of the rules instead of really looking at what does our body need, right? We're not looking at this intuitive awareness that we have. We're not listening to our body. They require willpower. It's like you're on a shake diet and you go out to lunch with girlfriends and they're all eating and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here with my shake. No, really, I'm good. This is really satisfying. Like, wrong, right? And there's the guilt and stress and restriction, like they just aren't sustainable. So today we're going to talk about what is, because the secret is fueling your body for your unique needs. It is not a one size fit all. It is not something that we can just pull out of a book and be like, oh, yeah, this is it. Because have you ever been on a diet before and it worked for you, but it didn't work for somebody else, or vice versa? But what if weight loss could feel effortless? What if it really was weight release and it's gone for good? What would that mean for you? How much time would you get back in your day? I'm working with a psychiatrist right now. And when we started working together, I asked her, how much time do you spend thinking about food? Take a guess. I want you to just put in the chat, how long do you think she spent thinking about food? 20 minutes, half hour, hour. What do you think? Hours a day? Yeah. 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day that she spent looking at, well, if I'm going to eat out tonight, then I've got to maintain my calories here and I've got to adjust this and I've got to do this and I've got to do this. And not even like prep time, but just straight up thinking about food. What would you do with 2 to 4 hours back in your day? How much time would you have back in your day if you didn't have to think about food and you didn't have to strategize and contemplate and micromanage? Right? The gift that we get when we really nurture and nourish our body is freedom, time, and energy. And I want that for you today. So I am going to talk about different programs I have and stuff like that throughout the course of the day. I have a gift for you. I have 2. One, I have my Power Pause checklist, which this is recharging strategies for busy, ambitious women. Because here's the thing, you can do all of the right things in your diet and lifestyle, but if we are in chronic stress and burnout mode, you are still going to hold on to that weight. So the Power Pause checklist, I'll give you the link for that towards the end. And you can be able to, that's my gift for you, just for being here, because I want to be able to build into you. Whenever I do a workshop or a talk, my intention is for your life to be better, regardless if you work with me from here on out or not, but it's for your life to be better just for having spent this time here today. Okay. So that's my commitment to you, is my goal is to build into you. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. If you have, if you need something, like raise your digital hand or put it in the chat, and I will make sure that you walk out of here with your questions answered. But I want you to know that this is here for you. If I offer something today and you're like, that speaks to me, I want that result, then you have this gift certificate, this gift card, which again, I'll get you at the end. For any of the programs that I offer, you can use this gift card towards anything that we talk about today. Okay. So I just want you to know that that's there. So I'm going to teach you the 3 keys to effortless weight loss. The first one is to listen to your body. We have to be listening. If we just follow some rote program, how do you know if it's working for you or not? How do you know what is in your body's best interest if you aren't listening? Our body talks to us all day long. How many of you ever had a headache before? Stomach upset? Maybe some joint pain? Maybe you're tired. Like, all of those are messages from our body. We get to decode them and figure out what it means, but they're all messages from our body. And I'm going to teach you some of the things to pay attention to starting today. Okay. So the second one is to be able to align. So you're going to eat for your metabolic design. This is where it's critical because we've got to give our body the nourishment it needs. Look to the person on the left and of your Hollywood square and look to the person on your right. Do you look like them? Do they have your same physical makeup? Are they the same age? Like same ancestry? No, we're all different. So we have to idealize and eat for our body's unique needs and personalize it. Okay. And then third step is to autopilot it. This is where the effortless comes in. When you have these first two steps down, there are some specific structures and systems that allow us to be able to autopilot healthy eating. How many of you guys would love to be able to not have to think about food, to feel amazing every single day, and have your energy and your waistline back? If that's you, put yes in the comments. Awesome, Claudia. Me too. Right? So it's how, yes, Mona. So how do we get there? This is what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So, and I want you to start out by thinking about this. Have you ever, put yes in the chat, if you have ever eaten from boredom, stress, because it's the time of day that I eat, or maybe you have every day you have dessert after dinner. So it's just habit instead of actually really being hungry. Yeah, lots of yeses. And we've all done it, right? In America, food is 18 other things, not just what our body needs. So why do you eat what you eat? This is a huge piece that we get to be aware of. When we're eating things, if we're not taking time to really pause and go, why do I want this? Sometimes it's stress. Sometimes we're physically hungry, right? We have stomach rumbling. It's been 3-4 hours since we've eaten. We are hungry physically. But then we also got to go, okay, so I'm wandering in the pantry going, what sounds good? I just need a little something. Or we're stressed out in the middle of the afternoon, or we have this project we're working on. I just need a break. And what better reason to take a break than a snack? And so we just go and find something, right? What is it for you? Why do we eat what we eat? So we've got to determine that. Okay. One of the keys of what we've got to figure out. So are you hungry or is it a craving? Is it a physical, do you have a physical sensation in your body? Or are you bored? Are you stressed? Are you lonely? You know, we have in my program Transform, we talk about this a lot. We talk about the peace of mind square, which is balanced with mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And when we have balance in all of those areas, we are on fire. You know, I'm talking about the flow, like everything in life just feels like it's working. You feel good, life feels good, it's all good. If we have a gap in any one of those areas, though, we as Americans have been conditioned to go find something physical, whether that is Netflix, sleep, drugs, alcohol, sugar, food, working, overworking, working out too much, right? We go to do something versus sitting in the being and going, what do I really need right now? And so paying attention to, am I having a craving? Do I want to fill something, or do I want this food to fix something? Or am I really hungry right now? Okay. Second thing to pay attention to is, how does food make you feel? Does it give you energy? Like if you eat lunch, do you feel awesome until dinner? Or do you have that 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I need a nap feeling? When you eat something, do you have loose stools? Do you have diarrhea? Do you have stomach upset? Do you have acid reflux a couple hours later? Those are signs that something's not working, right? So we get to pay attention to what we're experiencing. Anything that feels remotely, like even the slightest bit off, is our body sending us a message about something that we are doing or experiencing. And know that food sensitivities can show up 30 minutes to 3 days later. So one of the things that I help clients do is to be able to understand the patterns of what they're experiencing. Because sometimes it's one food, but sometimes it's a combination. Sometimes it's the frequency. So if we don't know how to identify the patterns, then we're still kind of guessing. But one of the key things to do is just start paying attention. Okay. And then understanding what our emotional eating triggers are. You know, is it loss that you're feeling? Is it agitation? Are you bored? Do you like, what is it for you that's driving? Because when we understand what the trigger is, then we can also understand what the solution is. What can I do that will support me, that will fulfill the void versus just filling it or trying to fill it? Okay. So those are the three things that we really want to pay attention to as much as possible. So a really simple way to be able to get this started is to keep a food journal, a food mood journal. So we're not just, most people go, oh, I hate food journaling, because all they're doing is like tracking and monitoring every minuscule piece of food that goes into their mouth. And I'm not a fan of doing that. I'm also not a fan of counting calories and micromanaging our food. When we can understand why we do what we do, then we can find other solutions to fulfill the emotional drivers. And we can also eat in a way that is ideal for our body, because it is hand in hand. There is no separating your mind from your body. They work together. And what happens most often I see is that people go, I want to get this result, right? I want to lose 30 pounds. I want to drop weight. And they go, okay, so I'm going to do all of these things. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to cut calories, no more sugar, no more carbs, no more alcohol, no more fast food. I'm going to be perfect. And if they can sustain it, they can reach that goal for a while. But how many of you know about the law of diminishing return? Like the farther away we get from that success, the farther away we get, let me rephrase that. The farther away we get from the pain that was the stimulus of why we started doing the thing in the first place, we don't have as much motivation, right? If I have a client who had a heart attack and 4 years later, they're right back 40 pounds overweight, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure again. Why? Because they overhauled everything to become healthy. But then once they were healthy, they didn't have the worry and the concern anymore. So it just slowly went away. So ideally, what we want to do is be able to create a new habit. We want to understand these foods make me feel good. These don't. Okay. So that's the entire goal when we're looking at a food mood journal, is not to micromanage things, but it's to be a detective and understand what's working, what's not, and what do we get to shift so that we can thrive. Okay. So I'm curious, when you look at this scale, where are you? Are you at a 1 where you're like, my body never talks to me? I don't notice anything. I eat, everything I eat, I pretty much feel the same way. Are you at a 10 where you're like, oh, I 100% know exactly what works for me, what doesn't, why I do what I do, and I know what I need to shift and what I change? That's a 10. Okay. And a 5 is like, well, I know something doesn't agree with me, but I don't always know why, and I don't always know what it is. You know that if there's an immediate response that you're like, oof, that is it. That does not work. But outside of that, it's kind of just neutral. Where are you at? Awesome, Mona, 7, 8. Cool. Where are the rest of you ladies at? Put it in the chat for me. Claudia's a 9. Nice. That's awesome. Mary's a 9. Beautiful. I love that you guys are so aware. It is one of the most important catalysts to change, is that awareness piece. Okay. Now, once you have that awareness, what do you do with it? That's what we're going to talk about next. Okay. Now, I want you to type in the chat if you want to know exactly what foods your body truly thrives on. This is where the personalization comes in. This is the total deviation from diets, because diets don't work. Diets are, they can be a stepping stone. If you have nowhere to start and no idea where to start, following a diet is probably better than eating fast food 3 times a week. If you follow any kind of diet that uses whole foods versus processed foods, right? And so it's not, the alignment piece, your body is what is the most important piece out of all of this. Okay. So I love seeing all of the aligns. So it's your metabolic design is one of the key components of alignment. Your metabolic design is how much protein, fiber, and fat that your body needs specifically. Again, we're all different. You know, if you have somebody that is on the carbohydrate end of a metabolic design, there's a spectrum between protein and carbohydrate, and then there's mixed in between. And so where you're at on that spectrum determines what foods are the right fuel for you and how much protein, fiber, and fat you need. If somebody is a carbohydrate design, but they are eating a protein-based meal plan, and protein-based meal plans have like 50% of the diet coming from protein. About 30% is vegetables, about 20% is healthy fats. So it's a very dense diet, but for a protein design, that helps to stabilize their blood sugar. It keeps them grounded. It gives them balanced energy, and it fuels their metabolism. They thrive on that. But a carbohydrate design needs 70% of their diet coming from carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits, and some grains. So if somebody is a carbohydrate, they're eating a protein-based diet, it does not work for them. Their digestion slows down, their energy tanks, they'll stack on extra weight, and they don't feel well. So if we're eating in alignment with our metabolic design, it simplifies it so much. There are certain foods for each different type of metabolic design. And when we know that, it's like, oh, these are the foods, they make me feel good. I'm going to eat these. These don't make me feel good. I'm not going to eat these, or at least not eat as many of them, because you're aware of the impact that they have on you. Okay. So it takes food from this complex craziness of like, I have to do all the things and I have to do it all perfectly, to going, oh, common sense. Okay. I eat these foods because they make me feel good. And so when we are looking at metabolic design, it's a 64 question assessment. We look at specifics around your body, physical characteristics, how your body responds with different foods in different scenarios. And then I take that and I help you to unpack that with your food journal, your mood food journal. So we're really looking at, you know, are you driven by low blood sugar and it feels like emotion? Or are you driven by emotion, and what's our plan B for that? Or are you eating foods that are causing gut inflammation, which is driving up candida and driving up cravings? So it's unpacking all of that. So you get to a place where you're like, oh, this is the way that I can eat, but you have flexibility. Doesn't matter what scenario you're in. When you're eating for your metabolic design, you can eat in a variety of different places. I can go to somebody's house. I can go to a restaurant. I can go out. I can travel. I can even eat on the holidays and know how to eat to be able to make myself feel good, to release my weight or release any weight, and to be able to balance it and to stay stable. Okay. So one of the keys in this is to notice how you feel 1 to 2 hours after you eat, because that's going to tell us more about the food sensitivities. It's also going to tell us about your blood sugar reaction and your insulin reaction. And it's going to help us to understand what combination of foods are really helping you to thrive. Okay. The next step after that is identifying food sensitivities. So if you feel a little bit off after you eat a meal, we get to unpack why. Because when you understand, again, I'm going to go back to common sense. You're like, oh, yeah, when I eat peppers and eggplant, my body has a reaction to it. Why? Maybe because you're sensitive to nightshades. So it's really looking at what are the pieces, what are the foods that are right for me. Some people, I was talking with somebody yesterday and she goes, you know, I fell into a gluten-free lifestyle kind of by accident, but she was going through some health stuff, and that's when paleo first came out, and she's like, I just decided I was going to try it. And what she understood after identifying and going through a elimination diet is she recognized that she's sensitive to grains, and grains immediately caused inflammation in her body. And so when she stopped eating grains, all of her fibromyalgia and lupus and all the diagnoses that they gave her. Once she understood what didn't work for her body, she cut them out, and all of the diagnoses disappeared. And if she went back and ate the grains again, they would reappear. So it's really understanding what your body does. And I help people shortcut that so you don't have to go through as much of the trial and error process, and you don't have to guess, and you don't have to suffer anymore. Okay? Because I truly believe that you can have your health and you can have it be easy and feel amazing at the same time. And so within your metabolic design, we're also looking at protein, fiber, and fat, and the balance of those that is ideal for you. Okay? How many of you guys would love it if it was easy to be able to do that? If you would like that, put autopilot in the comments for me. If you're really ready to stop stressing, because there's so many pieces. Like there's the awareness piece, then there's the, oh, I know how to do this. And then we get to this part of like, now I need to implement it. Duh. And so often it's not the knowledge, right? How many of you guys know that we need to eat more broccoli and chicken than brownies and cookies? Anybody? Like that is common knowledge. Yet, why do we find more brownies and cookies in our mouth? Because we're busy, because we're stressed, because we're overwhelmed, because we don't plan ahead, because we have 18 other responsibilities, and a lot of times because we don't put ourselves on our own to-do list. So I want to teach you some of the foundational principles. I don't have time to dive into all of the nitty-gritty today, but know that there are principles that allow us to be successful and to put it on autopilot. One of them is the common sense knowledge about what works for me and what doesn't. Okay. After that, it's about making it simple. It's about making it easy. And not that it's effortless completely. You still have to put a little bit of effort in, maybe. I had a mentor a long time tell me, Jen, you need 3 things to be successful in life. One is time, one is money, and one is people. And as long as you have at least 2 of those, sometimes you can get away with even 1, you can be successful in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because if you have the time, you can be able to do all the prep stuff and you can be able to save money doing that. If you have money, you can hire out all the prep stuff to somebody else and you still don't have to put your own time in there. And sometimes we have manpower, we have families that we can be able to incorporate. But the whole goal is to figure out what your secret sauce is to create a system that makes it feel effortless. Okay. So the third word is autopilot. Okay. So that's what we're talking about now, is how to create the systems so that it feels effortless to be able to work this into your life. Because how many of you guys have ever done, I should say ladies, have ever done a diet where you now have this meal plan and it's like you have to take your life into the meal plan? And you can sustain it as long as life doesn't blow up or life doesn't happen or life doesn't change between where you started and where you are on this meal plan. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like meal plans are, I provide guidelines for meal plans for my clients. I don't believe in handing somebody a meal plan and going, here, eat this. How many of you guys like to be told what to do? Anybody? What does a meal plan do? It tells you what to do. And then we go into rebellion mode and resistance mode, and we don't want to follow it because we don't want to be told what to do, especially when half the stuff on there is not the things that we would choose to eat in the first place. So I want to teach you how to be able to start creating some simplicity around this. Okay. The first one is to create go-to meals. How many of you have meals in your family that you repeat on a fairly consistent basis? Maybe you do Taco Tuesday night, or you do Pizza Friday, or you do, I don't know. I mean, many people will have a theme of the week, like they do a daily theme. So Monday night is a crock pot because they're busy. Tuesday night is tacos or some variation of Mexican. Wednesday night is more of a variation of Italian. Some people do, roasting this day or grilling, and we have rhythms and routines that we fall into. When we can establish things on repeat, Not that we have to eat the same meals all the time, every day, but when we can create some consistency, we can create a habit. Our brain loves habits. It does not work well when we have constant change and variability. So when we can be able to create a framework, it allows our brain to really thrive and it gets settled. We don't feel like we are constantly in creation mode and we're micromanaging everything. So creating some go-to meals. These can be freezer meals, right? Meal prepping in a simple way. I have a client who was going away to Florida, and she wanted to make sure she had meals taken care of when she came back. So I taught her how to freezer meal. In 1.5 days, she made 39 freezer meals. And she stacked them all up in her freezer. And when she came back, she had 6 weeks. It broke down to 6 weeks of meals that she wanted to eat. She was excited to eat. She didn't have to think about cooking for a month and a half. How many of you guys would love something like that in your life where you did not have to think about cooking for 6 weeks? Would it be worth doing some prep stuff ahead of time to be able to create that luxury? It is a little bit at a time to be able to create a huge win. And so are there lots of other different ways to meal plan? Absolutely. The key is to plan, right? I think it was Edison that said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I 100% believe that to be true. Because if you do not have a plan of what you're going to do, what happens in the morning? Grab and go, maybe fast food. We do things that do not serve us at our highest and greatest good. Would you agree? We end up in this place where we are just throwing it together and hoping it works. Now, once we have some routines and some strategies, we can then take that and create our own routine and create simplicity in it. Most of my meals I make in 15 minutes or less. Most of my prep stuff is 10 to 15 minutes. I may bake something in the oven or in the air fryer or something like that, which will take a little bit of time, but I am not actively in the kitchen cooking. Like, for me, I would rather spend time with my daughter. I'd rather spend time with my dog, my clients. Like, I would rather enjoy my life than spend it in the kitchen. Anybody else feel that way? If you do, put yes in the chat for me. Because we get into this habit of like, I have to do this. When I was working with Lisa, she's like, she would go and she would grab stuff out of the vending machine at work. She would order in DoorDash. She would grab whatever she could on the fly, especially during tax season, but planning was not in her forte. And one of the things that I taught her to do is just to roast, do a sheet meal, take some chicken or some shrimp or some, whatever protein you want, put it on a cookie tray, throw a bunch of veggies on there, a little olive oil, some fresh cracked pepper and garlic powder, and bake it at 350 for like 20 minutes. And you have an entire meal done that you only had to do once. And the beautiful part about it is you can be able to up the volume, and now you have lunches made the next day. So how do we simplify it? How do we make it that we don't have to focus on food every single day? And some simple systems and strategies go a really, really long way. The other thing is, don't rely on willpower. This is a huge piece. How many of you guys think that willpower works? I mean, it depends on how much you have, right? At some point, we get exhausted by trying to rely on willpower. Instead, make it a habit. And this is true for your sweets and treats and things like that too, right? Absolutely rely on your planning and your meal prep and things like that. But if you schedule a treat and I don't believe in cheat meals or cheat days or cheat weekends. Why? Well, let's see. If you were cheating on your spouse once or twice a week, what would your relationship be like with them? How long would they stay around? Do they feel loved? Well, treat your body like you would treat someone else. Love on it. Give it what it wants. Give it what it needs. You're not punishing it. You're not abusing it by making it go on a diet or working out. right? It really is. How do you start to massage the belief that everything is permissible, not everything is beneficial. There's nobody walking around that's going to smack a cheeseburger or a glass of wine or chocolate out of your hand. Just doesn't happen anymore, right? How do we get to a place where we are not living on willpower? When it comes to indulgences, I like to refer to them versus cheating or treats, but there are things that are maybe less nourishing. And so for me, they're an indulgence. I live 90-10, 90% of the time I fuel my body, 10%, I don't worry about the 10%. If I want to have a piece of chocolate, I do. If I want to have a glass of wine occasionally, I do. If I want to go out to eat occasionally, I do. I'm intentional when I'm doing those things, and I'm also scheduling them. If you schedule things in your calendar, do you look forward to them? Like, not like a gynecology appointment, but like girlfriend appointment, right? Schedule things into your calendar that you look forward to. I have a client who, when I was working with Vicky, she would, in the afternoon, she would always go get a no-bake cookie and a Diet Coke. And it was every day. And she's like, I don't ever know how I'm going to get away from this, because we've been doing it for the last 2.5 years. Well, we started unpacking what it meant for her. And the biggest piece of it was that she got to connect with her friend, and they took a break in the middle of the day. And so we started talking about, well, how do you manage this? How do you do it a little bit differently? So we had her schedule a cookie and Diet Coke day once a week. The rest of the time, she got together with her girlfriend. They went for a walk outside. But after 3 weeks of doing this, she didn't need the cookie anymore. She didn't need the Diet Coke anymore. It was just the habits she had gotten into, and she was doing it on autopilot. So how do you change something? Schedule it. Decide how much you're going to have. Decide when you're going to have it. And really lean into that so that you have a life that you love, one that's fulfilling and enjoyable without feeling the deprivation, the restriction, and everything else. Because so many times we restrict and deprive ourselves of everything that we love, trying to release weight, and that doesn't serve us either, because it's not sustainable. And we really want to create lasting change, not short-lived change. Okay? So instead of just counting calories, focus on food that makes you physically feel good. Because when you're eating foods, you're like, oh, I feel good. I have good energy. My weight is releasing. My inflammation is decreasing. My clothes fit again. I've got great mental clarity. I promise you, when you change the quality of what you're eating, and so you're nourishing, you don't have to focus on counting, because you're doing what your body wants to do. You're thriving at that point, not just surviving and micromanaging. Okay? So 3 keys: awareness, alignment, autopilot. The biggest thing I want you to walk away from today, if you are following somebody else's plan, you'll never truly know what works for you. And that is where we continue to cycle to diet after diet after diet after diet. And so often we don't even get to a place where we release the weight that we want to before we jump to the next thing. When I was working with Barb, she and her husband hired me to work together. He had 70 pounds he wanted to lose. She had 40. The first 6 weeks, Ken drops 24 pounds. Barb is more than a little angry at this point. Why? Because her scale hasn't budged at all. She is mad. But here's the thing, because she was only focused on this scale, she didn't recognize that she had lost 4.5 inches from her waist. She had to decrease the inflammation first. But she goes, it's a good thing I signed up for 3 months with you, because after the first 6 weeks, I would have been out, probably after the first 3 weeks. So she would have never gotten to see any results. Now, that first 6 weeks, she didn't lose any weight. She shrank, but she didn't lose any weight. The next 6 weeks, she released 18 pounds. Why? Her body had to deal with the inflammation first. So if we don't extend the amount of time that we give our body, we are in a 90-day wellness cycle. What you do today doesn't impact you just tomorrow. It impacts you for 90 days after what you consume and the lifestyle that you have. So the more that we can be able to nurture and nourish ourselves in a way that's in alignment with what our body needs, the more we can be able to see transformation happen right before our eyes. Okay. So are you guys ready? Who wants to take some action? Who wants to actually get some results today and be able to start feeling better, not just knowing better? Okay. Because it really is, it's not about the knowledge. If you walk out of here today and you do nothing, you are going to walk back into the same life, doing the same thing, getting the same results. Yeah. The only thing that creates change is action. So we're going to talk about that today. And here's the thing. How many of you guys can relate to being here on the left? Maybe now or maybe in the past. You still feel overwhelmed, you're stuck in the old patterns, you're tired, you don't have a clear path of what's next and how to start actually creating results. And you don't have accountability. Maybe you have a friend that you're a walking partner with, but it's not moving the needle for you. And you've tried things, but nothing works. Anybody relate to that? Right? And how many of you would like to be on the right-hand side, where you wake up with energy and you have a proven personalized plan that fits into your life, that you have support and expert guidance for, that you can break free from the self-sabotage once and for all, and you actually get to thrive and feel amazing. So I'm curious, where are you? Are you above a 5 or below a 5? Where do you feel like you are right now? Are you kind of in there like, oh, yep, this is where it is? And would you like to be a 5 or above, where you have all the pieces, you are ready for it, and you're ready to take action? Because we can be in either spot. One just takes us a lot longer to be able to get the same results. Okay. So the way I see it, there's 2 options. Number 1, you can continue doing it by yourself. How successful has that been so far? I know when I was doing it by myself in my 20s, I spent a year eating carrots and cottage cheese for lunch every day for a year. Why? Because it was low carb and it was low fat and there was protein in it. I did Weight Watchers. I did the shake program. I did the paleo diet. I did, South Beach, little Atkins. I threw everything into the ring. And what I found is that I was still in the cycle because I didn't understand what my body needed, what I needed to be successful. Okay. So you absolutely can work it out by yourself. And for some of you, you're like, yep, I got it. I can do this. And for others of you, you're like, oh, maybe not. I just lost my slides. So you can work on it by yourself. And what happens is we stay stuck. I don't know where that slide went, but it is not there. But if you're working on it by yourself, what are the things getting in your way? Is it the know-how? Is it the support? Is it the implementation? Do you still find yourself reaching for the next quick fix? Do you find yourself reaching for whatever you can read, whether it's a book or a podcast or something else, but you're still kind of fumbling around in the dark with knowledge, but not really a system and a plan? I had a gal in my office one day and she's like, Jen, she goes, I know I should be doing this. I should be doing this. I should be doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm doing a little bit of this, but I'm not doing this. And I'm not doing this, but I am doing this. And I should she'd read more books than any one person should ever read on nutrition and weight loss. And she was still sitting there at 40 pounds overweight. When she finally understood her metabolic design, she released that 40 pounds over the course of 4 months. And she did it in a way that was sustainable. She did it in a way that she could look back and see the changes, but not feel like she had exhausted herself doing it. Okay. So I'm curious, can I show you an easier way that creates proven results? This is the system that I have used for the last 20 years of helping women reclaim their waistline, increase their energy, sleep better, and feel amazing. You guys good if I share that with you? Yeah, cool. Cool, cool. So that's doing it with me, because I've been down the road on all the things that don't work. And I also have the system of what does work. So let me share a little bit more about this with you. When you work with me, I call it the Sherpa route. Why? Because if you're climbing a mountain and you are not a Sherpa, you are focused on the climb. You are focused on, how do I implement? What do I do? But your Sherpa knows the way, has the map, has gone on the route numerous times before, is carrying your pack and doing the heavy lifting. That's my job, right? No more spinning in circles, no more guessing, no more of wondering where you should go. You have a simple, sustainable system so that you can make changes that actually work for you, and the guesswork is taken out of it. You also have a supportive space that's judgment-free, where you can get real-time feedback and encouragement, and there's other people going with you. If you're going to go climb Mount Everest, you can go by yourself, you can go with a Sherpa, or you can go in a line with another team, with a group in a team, so that everyone gets to the top together and you're all leaning on each other's support, encouragement, and you create success together. Okay? That's my goal for you. So what would it be like to have me guide you every step of the way for 4 weeks, where you learn and uncover the awareness and you start to really understand what your body is telling you? You understand where, like, if there are certain places that you have chronic pain. I have a client who was in chronic pain for 20 years and literally could not get up off the floor and took steps one at a time. She's 60 years old. And she wasn't, this is how we take steps. This is how she was taking a step. At 60 years old, she was pulling her foot up one step at a time. Couldn't walk down the stairs without massive pain. And we started understanding where her pain was, what the emotional and the lifestyle root was. And in 3 weeks, she was out of chronic pain that she had been in for 20 years. So when you understand the root cause, we can be able to heal that. What do you think that would do for you if you were able to understand what specifically your body needed and what the root cause was? And we uncover your metabolic design. And so you know exactly what to do and how to do it. And we go through and we look at implementation strategies so that it makes it simple and easy for you to implement. And you don't have to overhaul anything in the process to do it. So that's what this is. So remember, as we're going through this, I want you to think about the $500 gift card that you still have sitting. Okay. So this is a proven formula for success. This is the same system I have gone through with my clients for the last 20 years and helping them to create results. And today I want to give you a little sneak peek. Okay. I'm going to give you just a highlight of what this is so you understand what we would do over the course of the next 4 weeks. The first thing is your metabolic design assessment. Like I said, this is a 64 question assessment. We look at specific food journaling. We look at what is working for you, what is not, and then how do you simplify it so that you have the list of foods that you're like, oh, these make me feel good. These don't. It becomes common sense. When I work one-on-one with somebody, this is over a $450 value where we're working one-on-one with this. So you get the benefit of working directly with me, answering any questions. I'm with you 110% to make sure that you understand what your metabolic design is so you can be successful. You also have a restaurant guide. So much of it is like, how do I eat healthy on the go? Well, this is in your pocket. You literally have an app where you can be able to pull it up, go there, and look at the restaurant guide. The weekly meal plans are not meal plans where I'm like, eat this. You have to eat this for you to be successful. What we're going to do is create 4 weekly meal plans that work for you, for your metabolic design. And then we will tweak them and massage them so that they work for your lifestyle. These are meal plans that we create together. I have a framework that allows you to be able to cook once and eat multiple times. There are a lot of tricks and tips that I have picked up over the last 20 years of avoiding the kitchen. And I can share all of them with you. Okay. There's a recipe guide. So you have, over 100 different recipes that you get to pull from that are delicious and enjoyable. There's shopping lists, and we'll create and massage yours so it works specifically for you. But imagine not having to think about, what am I going to eat? What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And once a month, you get to just repeat the 4 weeks of meal plans. You can opt in, you can change it up, but it's designed to be able to make it easy and effortless so that you can put your healthy eating on autopilot. Okay. So it's 4 weeks of live coaching. We start April 10th. Okay. So you've got a couple weeks to be able to prepare. This is not the time for you to go, okay, I'm going to work with Jen in April. So I'm going to eat whatever I want now because I'm going to have to give it all up in April. Wrong answer. Don't set yourself up for failure by massively spiking your blood sugar levels. What I want to do is walk you through step by step. So we're going to do 2 live group training calls that we're going to dive in and unpack that. And we're going to have 2 live group Q&A calls so that we work through what's getting in the way. Because we all have different challenges. There are definitely things that are working and there are things that are challenging. We are going to smooth the path. Think about clearing the path to your success. Okay? Because when we do that and you really have that clear understanding, you can finally break free from the exhaustion, from the emotional eating, from self-sabotage. You get to reclaim your energy, your health. You get to feel vibrant. Remember, feel 10 years younger, sleep better, have more energy, reclaim your waistline. What would that do for you? So that program alone is $1,800, over $1,800 if I was working one-on-one with somebody. But I want to make this accessible. So I've halved it. Okay. So I've cut it in half. It's not over $2,000. It's $997. But what do you guys have in your back pocket? A gift card. Okay. So you get to take $500 off the top of that. If you purchase by midnight, you have $500 to be able to take that straight off the top. For those of you that are like, I don't know quite that much right now, I got you. I have a payment plan. It's online. I'll show that to you, or you can be able to see that as well. But the goal is to be able to make it accessible to you, because I truly know this is the foundation for creating effortless weight loss. If you're going to go from diet to diet, plan to plan, or trying to fit your life into some meal plan, it's not going to last. This is the one foundational piece that I have seen is the most important piece for every one of my clients for the last 20 years. And so I put it in a really bite-sized chunk so that you have the foundation. It's not obviously everything about transforming your entire world, but it is the foundation that you can apply to any scenario and be successful. So with the gift card, tonight's only $497. Jenny, can you drop the link? You're so good. Look at her. Okay. So you can go directly to the website right now. You can be able to sign up, and then we get started April 10th. Okay. The gift card is good through midnight tonight, but I like bonuses. How many of you guys like bonuses? Anybody? Beautiful. So the bonus for you for this is my Transform program. So the Transform program is where we get to take this foundational piece and dive deep, right? Every single week, the first 3 weeks of the month, we have a call where we dive into nurturing and nourishing, and we're looking at lifestyle changes. We're looking at more bite size of education, and then we do some workshopping, and we get to a place where you're implementing and layering success on top of success on top of success. So it's an evolution over the course of time where you are going to elevate your health. You're going to reclaim your energy. You're going to skyrocket your energy and elevate your health while you continue to shrink and release weight, because we're using the foundation and then enhancing that. We also have a call that we do 3 times a month where we do mindset and emotional healing work, because like I said, stress is the #1 killer. You can't put it on a toe tag in the morgue, so they have to call it something else. They call it heart disease. They call it cancer. They call it diabetes. They call it Alzheimer's. They call it all of the belly fat that is the hanging belly fat, I'm talking about the saggy belly, that is all stress related. And so the shift and release calls that we do are designed specifically to remove the triggers from our body, the emotional triggers, and to be able to help us learn how to manage our stress more effectively. So we're in a place where we're thriving, body, mind, and soul. So that's another bonus you get added on to all of the other pieces we've gone through so far. And in Transform, this is just a snippet of some of the online modules that are in there. This is in Transform, this is probably 25% maybe of what you have access to. Remember, I've been teaching for 20 years. You have access to all of that information inside of Transform. So right away, you have access to this, and then you have access to all of the calls as well. Now, do you guys like more? I feel like, what is it? And wait, there's more, the infomercial. And wait, there's more. So I have fast action bonuses because I love rewarding action takers. Why? Because I know when I was in my 20s, it was like, well, maybe I'll do this. Well, maybe I'll do that. And I would talk myself out of more things that were in my highest and best good because I just didn't make a decision. And money and success and health, it loves speed. It loves action. So for those of you that are ready to take action today, you and I get to do a one-on-one where we will dive deep into all of the things privately one-on-one. We'll look at where are you at right now, where are your goals, and what is your fastest path to get there. In addition to all of the other things that we do within the Metabolic Makeover, you and I are going to work one-on-one with creating an action-packed path for your fastest success. Okay? So all in, this program is worth $3,000, close to $3,000. Today, you get it for $497. Okay. Like I said, there is a 2-payment option. So you can be able to go directly to CompleteHealthRevolution.com/MM for Metabolic Makeover. And when you go there, you can register. Just put in your name, your information, your credit card information, and you will get immediate access to all of the online resources. You will have access, well, okay, maybe within a day, but you'll have access to all of that at your fingertips so you can get started in transforming your health between now and when we get started in April. And then that entire month, you also have access to all of the calls that are in Transform as well. So my goal is for you to be successful, to hold your hand through the entire process so that you can create lasting, effortless change. Okay? How many of you guys are excited about being able to release it for good, to feel amazing, and to be able to make it super, super simple? Okay? That's what I have for you today. And I want you to know that it's your time. You deserve to join us. You deserve to have freedom from diets and drama and deprivation and restriction and all of those pieces. Okay. So thank you, Jenny, for dropping that in the link. And then I told you guys I have my power pause checklist for you. Thank you for staying all the way until the end. The power pause checklist is a set of recharging strategies for you to be able to take your stress down and to start prioritizing you. Okay. So I'll drop that in the chat and I'll make sure actually you're already registered. I'll just send it to you guys so that you have access to that. But just know that I am here for your success. I am so excited for you guys to join me in the Metabolic Makeover where you get to thrive. It is all about you. And what if this was the last time that you ever had to learn something new about how to manage your health, what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating? Because from here on out, you get to put it on autopilot. Okay. Thank you so, so much for joining me. Thank you for being here for you. And I am thrilled to have you guys join me in the Metabolic Makeover starting on April 10th. And anybody have any questions? And if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat, but I will conclude the recording for now. But just thank you guys so much for being here and for joining me today. Love you. Have an